Warning, if you're not a fan of language that packs a punch, now's the time to tune out. But if you're ready for some real talk, stick around and enjoy the ride. All right, I'm so excited about today. So I think this is fitting for our first episode, right?
I love that. Yes.
We're going to be talking with somebody who, if you're in any type of life change, is really going to be your best friend. You need to get on this. So tell us a little bit about Olivia and your experience with her. How did you guys meet?
So Olivia and I met through an online mom group. We were all fans of the same parenting podcast, which has since been it is no more, but our friend group is still there, right? So my kid is 8 and I've been in the group since she was maybe 6 months old. Like, we've been together for a long time, and it's just a really cool, supportive group of moms. And so that's where I met Olivia, was through that. And in all the years I have known her, gosh, she's just so reliable, right? If you send her a message with a question, she's going to answer you. She has a great sense of humor, even though she does think Seinfeld is funnier than Frasier, which everyone knows is false, but whatever.
Whoa.
Otherwise, otherwise she's
shows.
Amazing. No, I'm just kidding. Seinfeld is funny in its own way, but it never had a joke about Copernicus. So there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she has such a great sense of humor, and she's so kind and she's so supportive, and she legit just wants women to succeed. And I mean that in the broadest sense of women, right? She's so inclusive. She's so affirming of gender and sexuality and race and all those things that affect moms, because at the end of the day, right? Those are forces working against women in all the places of our lives. So she's so just passionate about that stuff. And so I'm really excited to hear her talk about Fresh Starts Registry, because what a cool idea. And also, she's just a genuinely great person. So
definitely. Well, first of all, I'm glad that we're doing this, because I feel like I'm able to extend my friend group.
Same. Yes.
I'm so excited. I'm just basically going to outright tell her that she's now my friend, and she doesn't realize that, but it's happening now, and she can't stop this train.
Exactly.
So no, I love it too. And I do get the sense, just from what I've seen online with Fresh Starts Registry, that there's definitely a component for, serving and supporting women. And I love that. So I think this is going to be a good conversation for people of any background or situation, but specifically if you are going through a life change, this is everything for you.
Yeah. Right? Life change, you're changing jobs, you're getting divorced, you're moving houses, you're breaking up, you're starting your own business, right? I referred a friend of mine to start a registry because she was going to start her own counseling practice. And so she crowdfunded to get a couch for her office. And I'm like, this is just so cool, right? You need a couch. You have people that want to support you in starting your business and doing this. Fresh Starts Registry gives you a place to ask for that kind of stuff. And so it's just a really cool, supportive space.
That's amazing. All right, well, let's get into it.
Okay.
My name is Tramelle D. Jones, and I am a strategic career coach.
I am Bonnie Scott. I'm a licensed professional counselor in Texas.
For women and marginalized communities, work is hard.
Especially at this point in the pandemic and in our lives.
There's such a toxic workplace in most jobs.
Or you're bringing your own trauma history and making decisions from that place.
From the experiences that we're both having individually, now we get to join forces and help the world not have to go through those same pitfalls, right?
We're going to do it with kindness and love for each other and all the women out there doing this hard stuff.
Welcome to the Work and Wellness Podcast. Right? I'm not planning for us to do a whole bunch of editing, so if you do the ums and the ahs, it's okay. That's how people talk, and I'm okay with that. But I also think it's great that almost everybody we've had on the show has been either a good friend of mine or a good friend of Bonnie's. So these conversations have been super exciting to hear. It's just like you're sitting around at your friend's kitchen table.
I
Mhm.
love that. I love that. And people
Yeah.
want to hear that. What's the official name of the podcast again?
The Work and Wellness Podcast.
Okay. I love that.
Mhm. Where
Yeah.
the way we framed it is sort of like focusing on particularly, women in the workplace, whatever that workplace looks like. So particularly focusing on women and or like marginalized communities, right? Like our LGBT folks or chronic
Yeah.
illness folks and stuff like that, and how
And
to
man, I
balance.
mean, when you say work for women, right? That is so different than it used to be. I
Mhm.
mean, it's crazy. I'm actually building a course with one of Bonnie and my friends, Meg, and the course is literally about helping moms make money while they're at
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
home with the kids,
Yes.
because one of my big passions in life is really every woman should be financially independent,
Agreed.
and that doesn't mean you need to make six figures, but it means that you need to have some money coming into your pocket at all times.
Mhm. Yeah.
But a lot of moms don't understand or don't know how to do that without being shisty, you know.
Mhm.
So you know, I'm like, there's so many ways. So we're launching
Yeah.
that in September, and it's actually I'm getting very emotional about it because,
Mm.
for me there was definitely a pivotal point. And I've always worked in my entire life, but there was a pivotal point when I was married, and I was like, oh shit, I need to make money by myself
Mhm.
because this is not the way that I thought this was going to be. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of women out there that don't realize you can make money and also raise kids and manage the household at the same time.
Hey, this is Bonnie, and I want to take a minute to talk to you about my business, which is Mindful Kindness Counseling LLC. It's a private therapy practice in San Antonio, Texas. It's a huge part of who I am, a huge part of my life. I'm really proud of the work that I do and the way that it reflects my values and supports my community. So I want you to know that my business is there. If you're looking for a therapist, if you're looking for a supervisor, if you're hoping for support or networking, let me know how I can support you, because there is plenty of work to go around and I want all of us to be successful. So reach me at BonnieScottLPC@gmail.com.
After Bonnie told me about what you're doing, Olivia, I was just like blown away
Mm,
because we're not celebrating all the other things. And in all
no.
honesty, that's when people need it the most.
Yep. Yep. That's our whole motto. It's time to rethink the registry for when you really need it most.
Mm.
Yeah.
And, it gives me chills when I talk about it, to be quite honest with you. We're living in a time that there are so many other milestones to celebrate, and we're not celebrating these. And
Yeah.
when you look at the math, right? So we've been breaking down a lot of these numbers because we're on our investment journey. So a lot of, looking for investors means having to look at your own business and breaking down
Mm-hmm.
numbers. I've always been fascinated with marriage and divorce. I come from a long line generationally of divorce, multiple sides everywhere. And so my sociology background is in marriage and divorce. And so, when you look at the numbers, right? The average person is going to have two babies in a lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
maybe two weddings in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So you're building registries for maybe one, maybe two babies, maybe one, maybe two marriages. The numbers go down, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the actual milestones people go through, the average person actually changes jobs 11 times in their lifetime. They move 11 times. They get
Mm.
divorced 1 to 2 times. They have three major heartbreaks. I mean, so right there, right, the tables are a little off balance, right? And
Yeah.
so we as a culture have decided, let's celebrate babies and weddings, which now a lot of people are not doing. And you're getting this backlash, not backlash, but this flood of people saying, hey, but I'm a human, right? I am
Mm-hmm.
graduating my PhD. I am getting my dream job.
Starting a
Stepping into my
business.
truth, starting a business, all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or going through a divorce. Why are we not celebrating this? And
Yeah.
so for me and for Fresh Starts, we are about celebrating the brave decisions, because
Mm.
to get to that brave decision is a really long journey, as you know. And that deserves to be celebrated because everybody deserves to be celebrated. And it really like irks me to think that there are people out there that feel like they're not worthy of celebration just because they haven't found a person that they decide to get married to or decide to have children. So
Mhm.
I appreciate your kind words. This is something I mean, Bonnie knows because we've talked about this, but I'm on a mission to change the world. I'm a deeply ambitious person.
Mhm.
And when people say to me, like, what's your plan? I'm like, my plan is to change the world. And, and for me, it's not about money. Money's great. I would love to make money. I would love to be able to afford my kids' private school, for a while. But it's not about that. It's about, I never want people to feel alone on their journey because it's really isolating to feel like you're making these decisions by
Mhm.
yourself.
Ooh,
Yeah.
let's go back. Talk
Yeah.
to me about how this came about because I really do want people to hear and understand your journey.
Yeah. My journey, I guess, goes back. I was an early adapter of the internet. So I was like on AOL chat rooms since I was, 10, 11. And so I've always been fascinated between the intersection of people, the internet, communication, conversations, and also, like I said, the sociology background. I started my career as a middle school teacher. I taught Latin at a private school for about a decade.
Mm,
Um,
wow.
I loved teaching because I loved being that teacher that the kids could come to and talk to and be open with. And so I taught until I had, during my teaching tenure, I got married, had my first son. It's hard, as you know, having a child and a full career.
Mhm.
So I was lucky enough that my family, my parents, and my sister watched my son while I was teaching, but it was really just mentally too much for me. And so I was my husband at the time was very supportive and said, well, what else can you do? What can we do so that you're not feeling so overwhelmed? And I've always been a writer. I've always loved social media. So I started freelance writing. I
Mm.
started freelance writing for a lot of parenting outlets. I was making $25 a blog post, and I thought I was like queen of the world.
Okay, but listen,
And
somebody pays you to write and you just feel
Yeah.
so good. You're
I
like, "Oh
mean,
my
and as
god, you
I
paid
mean,
me for
right,
this?"
and, like, as somebody that, like, I've known I wanted to be a writer since I was 4 years old, that, like,
Mhm.
I was like, "This is amazing," and I wrote for Rookie Moms, and I wrote for Parent Code, all these places, and
Yeah.
then I literally was walking my son around the park one day, and I thought, "Why am I not going to local places?" I live here in Long Island, and I grew up here. I said, "Just say to them, 'I'll run your Facebook page, just for free. Just give me a shot. I will try this.'" And I started with a local market that I went to myself, and she gave me a shot, and then from there a local author, and I didn't even have a website, and then a local law firm which I still am friendly with today, and it just grew. And literally from my kitchen table I started an agency. This was before Instagram, literally before Instagram. So we started doing Facebook pages for people, and then we started doing Instagram for people, and then it literally just took off. So we did a lot of social media management. For years, it was just me. Occasionally, I would have an intern, but it was me. And so I was raising my son full time and running a full time agency, running the household, doing everything: laundry, chores, dishes, cooking, everything. I would not recommend that lifestyle to people. I'm still recovering from a lot of that. Then I have my second son. He's now 6. And the agency, at that point we were global. We were doing influencer campaigns for major brands. We did television shows. And I will say everything that I've gotten in my career has been um because of my devotion to networking and connection to people. So I connected to a lot of PR people, a lot of other social media managers, project managers, and they would pull me into jobs. And I was every time so surprised and blessed. But I never said no. I just kept saying yes to things.
Hey friends, I'm Tramelle. If you didn't know, I run a career planning firm called TDJ Consulting. I focus on working with high achieving women, and you know exactly the ones I'm talking about. She's the go to employee, she's consistent, she's reliable, and everyone goes to her for help. It usually means that she's doing her work and theirs too. But unfortunately, her bank account doesn't reflect all the extra effort that she's putting in. I help those high achieving women leverage their wins at work to boost their salary by 10 to 20,000. I provide career services that build on those successes that they've already accomplished without requiring them to go back to school. If you're curious, let's talk. Schedule a free call at tdjconsulting.com.
But when the pandemic hit, my sister and I have always run businesses together since we were little children. March Lion is because born in March and she's a Leo. And so when we were little kids, our first company together was a card company. We made handmade cards called March Lion. And then when the pandemic hit, she was in the tech event space, and she used to go on site and do all sorts of things. And so she lost her job. And I said, "Come work with me." And she came, and we doubled the revenue for the company within about 6 months with her on board.
Nice.
And we had like 20 clients at the time. We were working like crazy. I was also homeschooling my children, and at that point going through a divorce. So
Wow.
that was a lot. I was completely burnt out, like down to the soul core, had no idea how to function at that point, but we were making money and my kids were safe. My ex and I decided to split up in April 2019. He did not move out till August 2019, which, as you can imagine, was probably one of the most traumatic periods of my life for many reasons. And you know how they say the universe repeats things from your childhood because they want you to learn things? A similar situation happened when my own parents got divorced. My father didn't move out. And so it was like the thing that you always dread growing up happening again to you. Like, and now
Yeah.
you're an adult and you're the one that has to be the adulty one.
Yeah.
And that's scary. And so when my ex did move out about 3 years ago this month, you know, my sister came over and we cleaned the house. I stayed in the marital residence, and we got rid of a lot of things that were emotionally charged. And I truly had like an Oprah aha moment. And I was like, wait a second. I'm getting rid of all my stuff. Like, this is the stuff I got when I got married, my china, my towels, my sheets that he slept in. I was like, why is there not a registry for getting the things you need from the people that love you during this time? Like, this is ridiculous. And so I did a lot of research, and the only thing that came up for divorce registry was articles saying, why is there not a divorce registry? And so I was like, well, I own about 4 million domain names. I've started millions of companies. I was like, I can do this. And so I wrote in my journal and I said, I want to start Fresh Starts Registry for women like me who are so overwhelmed during the divorce process that we are going to give you product recommendations and the experts you need to get through this time. Because when you are at that lowest point and you are crying and working and you have 2 kids who need you, it's impossible, literally impossible to look for like divorce lawyer. And then you're like, who do I call? I need a mortgage person. I need a real estate person. I need a therapist. It's so overwhelming. I had support. My dad's a lawyer. My parents were with me the whole journey, and still I was overwhelmed. So we kind of, my team really percolated on it for a couple months. And then one day last summer, I said, I'm just going to build this freaking website. And I built it. My sister is the most supportive person in the world. She took every dream I had, and we've built this from scratch. Every single thing you
Wow.
see is us built. We built it. There's nobody else there. We've designed it. We built it. And then what we have realized is that as we were building it, experts like Bonnie, right, are on there because the experts come, you know, built somewhat similar to a Psychology Today platform, except that a lot of our experts are smaller in business and don't know how to get themselves out there to reach the clients they need. And so with our marketing background and tech backgrounds and everything of 2 decades at this point, we thought, well, let's build a community for these experts to come in and to get the support they need. And so we always kind of call it like it's like a market share, you know, like, and we call it like a PR insurance or like social media insurance, right? So you pay monthly, it's $37 a month, which is very low. It's exactly
Yeah.
what everybody else is doing. And we've been getting press, and for our clients, Bonnie's been getting tons of press. And we also offer tons of social media support. So we have 2 speakers a month that come in. I go on office hours every month to talk through things with people. So as an expert, our job, you know, when they come into our community is to support them in their communications, business development, social media, PR, so that they can really bolster their online presence and get the clients that need them when they need them. And then they also get a profile on Fresh Starts, and they get to say they're a Fresh Starts expert. And
Wow.
we've been featured in the New York Post, New York Times, not New York Times. Well, maybe I'll manifest that. New York Times, New York Post, NBC, Long Island Press. Newsday is coming up with a feature. So we've been getting lots and lots of press, and we're at the embryonic stage. I like to say we're just rolling out. So, this is my dream career. My passion is connection. And so anything I can do to connect people to the products they need, to the people they need. And Fresh Starts is free for any user to come build a registry. We have product recommendations, we have content, our experts are constantly giving out free content. Today, actually, we're doing an IG Live with somebody. So we truly never want anybody to feel alone in making these decisions. And we have gotten flack from people who say, but we gave wedding presents, right? Why would we give you a divorce present? And we're not just divorced. We're divorced, moving, job change, stepping into your truth. We have people who coming out of the closet, grief. A lot of people come after, trying to figure out life. I don't want to say life after grief, but life during grief. Life with grief. But we don't think of our registry as a gift registry. It's a support registry. So when you purchase a shower curtain, sheets for a friend, you're not giving them a gift. What you're saying is, I support you in your life decisions. And people don't realize it's twofold, right? It's getting that support from somebody makes all the difference in the world, to know that you can take the next baby step. And the other thing is kind of the woo side of stuff, which is when you start filling your home with the new products, you can start seeing the new life come before your eyes. And I truly believe that when you can make a decision about something as little as a shower curtain for yourself, it snowballs that into making the bigger decisions that you need to make. And so there's so much here, and I'm just so ready to shake up the industry and change the world here. Yeah.
And just to the person who says, well, I bought you a gift when you got married. In all honesty, I don't want your gift.
Right.
But
you're not a friend.
What I hear, you're not a friend. You don't know how to love somebody.
No.
But what I hear is, how many of us want to support our friend and don't know how? So this registry makes it so much easier for me, instead of saying, friend, just call me if you need me.
Yeah.
For me to be like, here's your need, I'm here.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't even have to tell me. I'm going to go on the registry and I'm going to support you. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, or I'm going to put my heart where your need is.
And we're not talking about you've seen wedding registries and the people are registering for the $1,000, right? The crystal ice thing. And you're like, why the hell do you need this? Right. This is, we have the 5 major things we tell everybody to register for. New sheets, because you need to be able to sleep in a sheet that your old life did not sleep in, I will say.
Exactly.
Towels, utensils, plates, and shower curtain things. So it's really basic here. We're not talking about frivolous things. We're talking about the basic things that you touch, the tactile stuff that your senses smell, touch every day, especially after a divorce or a breakup. You want to feel fresh, right? You want to feel like it's your space, that your ex's fluids were not everywhere around on everything, right?
God.
So
yeah.
Really. So
valid.
And it's funny because I've worked with many healers and many practitioners in the healing space, and they would say to me, biologically speaking, when their cells are still around you on stuff, it does impact the vibration of the room. So we're all about changing. And it's small steps, right? We're not talking about, you don't have to move to a new place. This is literally and again, it goes back to worthiness, right? You are worthy of getting new sheets for $20 from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And you're worthy of asking your friends for help to support you in this new life.
Well, and what I love about it too is, if you're going through this process, you're in a life transition, sometimes it's hard, right? To say to all the people in your life, I'm struggling, I need help, I need sheets, I need, And so, I think when you first were telling me about Fresh Starts, a year or so ago, the sentence you said that stuck with me was everybody has places they want to go, and you have people in your life that want to support you in doing that. And it's oh, yeah, you're right. It's not just, oh, I graduated, give me $20. It's I'm I'm doing this big thing and there's people in my life that love me and maybe I don't know how to ask them for help,
Yeah.
but Fresh Starts gives a place to sort of gather and do that. And I think that is really beautiful too, right? Like friends that want to
Mhm.
support you and you that want the support, but you don't know how to ask for it. I mean, oh my gosh, so perfect.
And that brings up like a whole other topic where it's like the internet, right? So
Hmm.
you have friends that are on the internet that love you. I have friends from the internet that I've had for 20 years. Now, I've never met them in person.
Hmm.
Yes.
I love them dearly, right? And I would support them through any
Yeah.
life change. And it gives people that you've never met a chance to support you. And people that have watched your journey and really been like,
Hmm.
inspired by you. And, they don't have to be there physically helping you pack up an apartment to support you. Like they can do it in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's so true. Because, that's how Olivia, you and I know each other is we're internet
Yeah.
friends. And I don't
Yeah.
think we've ever met in person.
No.
But yeah, I mean, my kid is like a year younger than your older one.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yep.
the space that we had online to support each other and like showing up at 3 a.m. crying when your
Yeah.
baby won't nurse or whatever. And
Yeah.
like those moms are
Yeah.
important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It's like, okay, if they were going through something, I do want to send them $20 to their PayPal or whatever. How can I help? Because you were there for me at 3 a.m. How can I help you
Yeah.
today? Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, my girlfriends, who most of them were internet friends, supported me beautifully, by sending dinner, by sending Target Instacart
That's
to my
beautiful.
house. And so that was really inspiring to me, socks and things for my kids to play with. And I thought, for them to show up and do that, it provides a comfort in a way that your family can't sometimes, because your family kind of
Hmm.
has to love you and show up for you. But when your friends show up and love you, it really makes you feel like like a person again, like a human.
Yeah.
Hey, podcast listener, this is Bonnie jumping in on this little break in the action to talk to you about advertising opportunities for this season of the podcast. So, my business, Mindful Kindness Counseling, is really proud to support this podcast and these conversations, both with my time, but also financially. And Tramelle and I want you to know that we are open to your advertising needs as well. So if you're interested in funding a spot on the podcast, please feel free to contact us at workandwellnesspodcast@gmail.com. Bye.
And one thing we always want to do is offer some sort of advice in two ways. We want to offer a short term strategy, something that you can do quickly, but we also want to offer people some long term strategies, because we know that quick fixes only fix for the moment and you still got to
Yep.
do some work. If there are people who are going through some of these life changes mentioned in Fresh Start, what would be a short-term solution and possibly a long-term solution that you would suggest for people?
Those are such good questions. Um, so I'm going to take a general stance and then I'm going to niche it down to divorce. I'm a big fan of hiring help when you need it. So I think the first step is a therapist, always. I'm sure Bonnie
Whoop,
would
whoop.
agree with me. Um,
Yes, everyone needs a therapist. Call one
I mean,
today.
I exactly. I do. I think that the first step, because so much of deciding to make a change is actually saying that out loud, and that's really
Mhm.
scary. And so, I think the first step is talking through with a therapist. Just getting comfortable saying kind of what you want. Um, from like a mental standpoint. I also think short term from a physical standpoint is get your shit in order, right? So look at your financials, look at, where you're spending your money, make sure that you know your passwords to everything. All of that little stuff really does add up. Um in terms of a divorce, particularly, again, therapy is what kind of kicked everything off for me personally. I started therapy and then a month later my marriage was over.
Mm,
um
pretty
and
common. Yeah.
yep, pretty
Because
common.
just like the job, if you're thinking
Yep.
about leaving,
Yep.
probably the answer. Yeah.
And for me, a lot of that, it was finding my voice and saying no
Mhm.
for the first time to
Hmm.
something, and that really
Yeah.
kicked everything off. And
Yeah.
then working with a divorce coach, which we have a bunch of amazing divorce coaches on Fresh Starts. Some of them are divorce lawyers turned divorce coaches, which is like amazing. Um, they know the ins and outs of divorce, and they take a really balanced approach between your emotions and like the actual needs for what you need to do in a divorce. But again, taking a deep look at kind of like making sure your paperwork is ready, making sure that your bank statements are ready, um and kind of the long-term plan is, again, I'm all about people. Build your community, get your community ready, get your network ready, right? So if you're somebody that is making a job change, start getting your LinkedIn together and reaching out to people that may help you. If it's a divorce, start telling your friends that you might be looking for a new place or that you might need help. Build that divorce registry, things like that. So in all of these things, obviously registry comes into play, because when you make a life change, you're going to need the things to support you. Um, but I'm all about using the people that you have around you to help you. And all of those experts can be found on Fresh Starts. We have everything from career coaches to mortgage lenders to real estate agents to healers and therapists, obviously. So, for me, you can't make any big life change without having a support system. It's just almost impossible to do. So getting that network around you, that community around you, and that I think people need to remember too, like, this can take time. Like, it can take
Mm-hmm.
years for women to get ready to divorce. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had people telling me to start therapy years before I started therapy, and I knew I couldn't do it, because once I opened my Pandora's box, there was no going back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I get the question a lot of like how to support somebody going through a life change. And I think a lot of that is be really patient with them and don't push them into anything that they're not ready for,
Mm-hmm.
because they will be ready when they're ready. But even something as simple as like go see a therapist is really overwhelming when you know that when you open your mouth, you're going to say, I would rather be married to XYZ, or I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
move to Austin, Texas, or whatever, so, I think just be really patient with the people around you. But, use websites like Fresh Starts to find experts, and most of our experts are virtual at this point, right? Except for the real estate
Mm-hmm.
agents and therapists. So, and we have trauma coaches and life coaches, and we have financial planners, and a lot of our experts are women and people of color, which are really, really, it was important to me to have support women. And so, that's kind of what I would say. And also, especially with divorce, and this is something people don't talk about, but be mindful of your actions on the internet, right? So, I'm very careful with what I say, and I always joke that like my art is being able to tell the story of my trauma without telling the story of my trauma, right? So, be careful. There are some TikTok videos out there, and I'm thinking, woof, these girls have no idea they shouldn't be talking about this, right? And you know, uh, we this is backed up by, we have divorce coaches on Fresh Starts who talk about this a lot and have written about this. But anything and everything will be used against you in a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important to just be mindful of your actions. I mean, and that was one of the heaviest things I think going through a divorce, especially during the pandemic, was I just felt like I was, everything I did or said was like weighed heavily on my mind. And everything you do and say to your children, and everything, it's like you get paranoid,
Mm.
right? And I had, in the big scheme of things, a pretty decent divorce. I mean, there are much more acrimonious divorces out there. So, just be mindful of who you are, and be grateful for the people that do show up for you.
Mm. And I think, yeah, being grateful for the people that show up for sure. And like you were saying, finding an expert is important because sometimes women are not safe, right? Like if you're saying to a woman like, "Oh, you need to know your passwords and your bank statement," if she's being controlled financially, she doesn't have that, right? But to be able to reach out to somebody on Fresh Starts and say like, I want to leave and this is my situation, and finding somebody
Yeah.
that's supportive and non-judgmental, right? That can help keep you safe through that
And
process.
yes, and I will add too, because I want to make this very clear that all of the experts we have on Fresh Starts are vetted by us. So there's nobody on Fresh Starts. You have to apply. You have to adhere to our standards of non-judgment and non-shame, inclusivity. We literally know every single one of our experts. And
That's
so
amazing.
it's really important for us that if you're going to come to our community, that you feel safe. And our divorce coaches specifically, I will say that they are magicians in keeping women safe. They are so careful with it. They literally will make sure that if they're in your phone, it's a different name, whatever it is. So, the big thing for me with building the expert side of Fresh Starts was that, people could know if you come to Fresh Starts, you're going to get somebody that is going to keep you safe. They are vetted people. You don't have to keep looking anymore, right? You can just come and grab somebody that you need from there. And
Yeah.
so, if you are listening to this and you're going through something, most of our divorce coaches offer free consultations. You can go, chat with them. They set everything up in your time. And they are truly, I didn't even know it was like an industry until I started building Fresh Starts. But divorce coaches literally do everything that you need them to do. Like they will call you to wake you up in the morning to get you out of bed. Like it's such an amazing coaching world that, and they've all been through it, which is the really, really amazing thing too.
One. Whew, to hear that, I I'm so impacted just by the fact that there's someone out there who understands. Sometimes you need that call.
Oh yeah. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I remember going through my divorce and literally the image of an airplane going down in my head over and over because I felt like
Mm,
I was just losing it, and it's
Mm,
like, and and not everybody has someone they can talk about that with and that won't
yeah.
understand, like, like you are going through something really hard. Um
yeah.
and so we want to make sure that we are that community for people, and I have big plans for some conferences and retreats and things like that, so specifically single moms can feel safe in a place to celebrate their life because often single moms don't feel safe wherever they go. So
I understand that. So talk
yes,
to us about where people can continue this kind of conversation with you, your socials, your website. If you'd like, I'd love to hear about any projects that are coming up and will
yeah.
be available soon. But where can people find you?
Sure. So, in terms of finding us, it's freshstartsregistry.com. We are Fresh Starts Registry everywhere. We're Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, uh, Twitter. My personal handle is the Digital Yenta, which I am on Instagram and Twitter. I love my Twitter community, so I'm over there if you ever want to say hi. But in terms of Fresh Starts, we are always doing Instagram lives with our experts. So if you're looking for some kind of free help, but in the fall we're going to have what we call a divorce AMA coming up, which is we ask people
Oh,
anonymous questions, and then we have one of our divorce coaches come on and do an Instagram live answering those questions,
Mm.
that's
because
amazing.
it's safe. Then if you have a question, and last time we did it, we got some really great questions. So, if that we'll definitely be sharing that soon. Um, and then, if you are interested in making a registry or checking out the experts, you can go to freshstartsregistry.com. If you are interested in becoming an expert, which is, as Bonnie can attest to, a great, great place to be, you can reach
Yes.
out to me. Um, or you can go to freshstartsregistry.com and click join, and it gives you all the information. You can apply. It's $37 a month. And I think been in what, like 5 publications? I feel like you've been in like a lot. And there's some more coming up.
I mean,
A lot.
at least, yeah. That's what I was going to say is like, whatever Olivia is charging you, go and pay it because it's worth it for your business. Like, you get good support. You get these monthly, like, office hour, like, support, Facebook and social media. And so,
Yeah.
whatever Olivia wants from you, just pay it because it's worth it.
Thank you. And then in terms of projects coming up, I can't sit still for a second. So, we are actually transitioning out of doing the monthly management for social media for clients because it is, our business is Fresh Starts at this point, but my heart lies in marketing. So we do offer larger strategies. If you are a company that wants to come just do a strategy, we are happy to do that. I'm also going back to my education roots a little bit, and I'm building out a bunch of curriculums for small business owners for social media courses and classes, more classes than courses. So we're going to be offering kind of social media 101 classes, very affordable. And we're going to probably be offering about 4 different classes. So that's going to be coming up. And then the other big thing is this course that we're building with another mom in marketing. And it's called From Mom to Money Magnet. And it's going to be about how you can use your real life skills that you already are using at home to make money and build your own career. And that's going to be 4 weeks starting in September. So I'll definitely let you guys know about that, because that's going to be really awesome and something I'm passionate about. And we're offering $25 cash referral if you just refer anybody to the course,
Oh,
even if you
wow.
don't sign up for the course. Yeah, so it's going to be great. And we're actually bringing in around 16 to 20 women who have done it themselves to sit on panels and actually explain how they did it. Because so much of what I think women especially need to see is other women have done this and you can
Yeah.
too. And that was something I'm really passionate about. So everything from copywriters to photographers to home bakers to Etsy shop owners are going to come in and speak on Fridays to this in this course. So that's, I've kind of a little bit of everything coming up. And then I also offer one-on-one business consulting in terms of social media strategy, marketing strategy. I've been doing and loving, because it's really digging in deep with people. And then I am getting my life coaching certificate in 2023. So
Nice.
All
I
right.
can't sit still for a second.
No, it sounds great though. All good
Thank
things.
you. It's
Yeah.
all good things. I'm very, very excited about my life. Yeah,
I'm excited to hear about it. I think we're friends on some of the socials, and every
we
time I
are.
see you, I'm just like, yeah.
I know, I know. And I love what you guys are both doing. I mean, obviously I love this idea for this podcast, and I'm so excited to listen to it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we're so thankful that you were here with us this morning. Thank
No,
you.
of course. This was so
Definitely.
fun.